At the annual family reunion, my dad thundered, "Vacation is off. Expect a visit from our lawyer." All because I refused to co-sign a staggering $220,000 loan for my golden child sister's boutique. I simply nodded, turned away. Then at dawn, they awoke to frozen bank accounts as the fallout of their own threats. "Vacation's off. Expect a visit from our lawyer." Dad's voice sliced through the air like a sharp blade. His glare was fixed on me, cold and unyielding. The room froze. Forks hung midair. Conversations died. Mom lowered her gaze to her plate, pretending not to notice. Jenna, my sister, leaned back, a satisfied smile creeping onto her face. All because I refused to co-sign a $220,000 loan for Jenna's new, brilliant idea, a boutique she swore would make her finally independent. But I knew better. Jenna was the family's golden child, the one who could do no wrong. Every failed business, every maxed-out credit card, always someone else's fault. Always mine. Dad didn't ask. He demanded. "Just sign it, Michael. Family supports each other." "Not like this," I said, my voice steady, though the tension in the room was suffocating. Silence. Then, the storm. Dad's face flushed red. "After all we've done for you." "Done for me," he yelled. I almost laughed. I thought of the mortgage I paid for their house, the bills I covered when Jenna's last business failed, the endless emergencies that always ended up as my problem. But I didn't say any of that. I stood there, silent. Jenna's eyes filled with tears. "A familiar act. You never cared about me," she whimpered. "You never supported me." And then Mom, always the quiet accomplice, mumbled, "Michael, please. She's your sister." Of course she was. The sister who partied through college while I worked 2 jobs. The sister who wrecked her car and had me pay for repairs. The sister who took and took while I gave. I looked at them, this family I'd spent years trying to please, trying to support, and finally, I saw the truth. They didn't see me as family. I was a wallet, a safety net. When Dad stood up, his voice booming, "Vacation's off. Expect a visit from our lawyer," it wasn't a surprise. It was just the final scene in a tired play. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I simply nodded, stood up, and walked out. The next morning, they woke up to frozen accounts. But that was just the beginning. I thought freezing their accounts would be enough of a wake-up call. I was wrong. The first call came at 7:15 a.m., Dad's number. I let it ring. 10 seconds later, another call. Then another. I turned off my phone, tossed it on the kitchen counter, and poured myself a cup of coffee. I was done running to fix their messes. At 8 a.m., my work email lit up. An email from Mom. Subject line, "How could you?" I opened it, half out of curiosity. "Michael, please. This is a misunderstanding. Your father is upset, but we can fix this. Just call us. Please fix this." That's what I always did, wasn't it? Fix things. I closed the email without replying. By noon, they were desperate. Another email, this time from Jenna. "You ruined everything. My boutique is dead because of you. They won't even let me touch the money." I smiled and took a sip of my coffee. "No, Jenna. Your boutique was dead because it was always a fantasy, just like every other scheme you dreamed up while I paid the bills." But they didn't stop. At 3 p.m., Dad texted, "I don't know what you did, but undo it now or you'll see the consequences." By evening, the family group chat had turned into a battlefield. "Mom, Michael, please talk to us. Jenna, he's a traitor. He's always hated me. Dad, you've crossed a line, boy. This is family." They didn't get it. They had no idea what family meant. At 7 p.m., I heard 3 loud bangs on my front door. I didn't even need to look through the peephole. I knew who it was. I opened the door, and there they were, Dad, face twisted in rage, Mom, her eyes already red from crying, and Jenna, mascara smeared, looking like she'd been dragged here against her will. "You've gone too far," Dad shouted, shoving past me into the living room. "Mom," I started, but she shook her head. "Please, Michael, just fix this." "Fix what?" I snapped. "I just stopped letting you use me." Jenna shot back, her voice sharp and accusing. "You ruined everything. I needed that money." "No," I said, my voice cold. "You wanted that money. There's a difference. Michael, we're family." Dad yelled, slamming his fist down on the kitchen counter. I laughed. I actually laughed. "Family?" I said. "You dragged me here to fix your problems, and now that I said no, I'm not family? Stop being so dramatic." Jenna screeched. "I'm your sister. A sister who's taken thousands from me. A father who turned me into his personal bank. A mother who only speaks when she wants to guilt-trip me. That's not family." Dad's face went from pale to red. He stepped closer, so close I could smell the cheap whiskey on his breath. "You have one chance. Unfreeze the accounts, or I hope you realize the impact of your actions. I leaned in. Or what? You'll threaten me? You'll take more. What's left to take, Dad? My savings? My sanity? No, I said firmly. Not anymore. I pulled out my phone, opened the banking app, and turned the screen toward them. The accounts were frozen. The emergency funds Jenna thought she could access, locked. If you think I owe you, we can resolve this legally, I said. That's what you threatened, right? Dad's mouth opened, then closed. Then it opened again. But no words came out. Jenna's voice cracked. I told you he never cared. I told you. But I wasn't finished. I walked to my desk, opened a drawer, and pulled out a folder. You want to know how much I've done for this family? I said, slamming the folder down. Let's start with the mortgage. I slapped a printout onto the counter. The electric bills. That was me. The internet, groceries, car payments for you, Jenna, all me. Dad's face drained of color. You're lying, he whispered. Am I? I threw down another stack of paper. Printouts of transactions, transfers, screenshots of Jenna's endless requests for a little extra because she was trying so hard. Michael, please, Mom whispered. I'm done being your safety net. I'm done being the one you turn to when your lies fall apart. I've got my own life now, and from here on out, that's all I'm focusing on. I walked to the door, opened it, and said, get out. Dad's face twisted with rage, but he stopped himself, his fists clenching at his sides. He froze, a split-second decision flashing across his eyes. Maybe he realized, without me, his whole world would collapse. Maybe he realized I wasn't bluffing. Michael, please, we can talk, Mom tried again, but I didn't budge. Get out. They left, slamming the door so hard that the picture frame rattled on the wall. I stood there, listening to their voices fade down the hallway, Jenna's sobs, Dad's angry muttering, Mom's helpless whispers. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel free, not yet. But I would, because this was just the beginning. The night of the family dinner came, and I wasn't sure they'd even show up, but I was ready. I didn't bother dressing up, just jeans and a black t-shirt, but I had something else prepared. Something they wouldn't expect. At exactly 6 p.m., there was a knock on the door. I opened it to find them, Dad, Mom, and Jenna, standing together like some united front. Dad's jaw was so tight I thought his teeth might crack. We're here to sort this out like adults, he grumbled, pushing past me without waiting for an invitation. Mom followed, wringing her hands, her eyes pleading but silent. Jenna stormed in last, arms crossed, eyes red and furious. Sit down, I said, closing the door behind them. They didn't argue. Dad slumped into the armchair like he owned it. Mom and Jenna took the couch. Michael, Dad started, his voice trying to sound calm but cracking underneath. We're willing to forget all this if you just fix what you did. Reopen the accounts. Help your sister with her boutique. Let's be a family again. I laughed. A family? Stop making this dramatic, Jenna snapped. You're the one ruining everything. No, Jenna, I said, leaning forward, I'm just finally telling the truth. Her eyes widened. What truth? The truth you hide behind. The truth you spin every time you cry and run to Daddy, I said, pulling out my phone. I thought you might say that, so I came prepared. I heard what happened. Michael, come over. Let's talk. When I arrived, he didn't waste time. He handed me an envelope, legal documents. I've changed the trust, Grandpa said, his voice steady. The house they live in, it was never fully theirs. It's in my name. And now it's yours. I stared at him, stunned. They lied to you. Used you. Made you feel like you owed them. I've watched it long enough. Now it's over. A week later, a legal notice arrived at my parents' house. They had 30 days to vacate. Mom called, hysterical. Michael, you can't do this. We have nowhere to go. Dad grabbed the phone. You've changed. I don't recognize you anymore. This is your family. I stayed calm. No. Family is supposed to support each other. But you only saw me as a safety net. That ends now. They tried everything, calls, texts, even showing up at my door. I didn't answer. I didn't even watch as they packed up their lives and left. A month later, I stood in front of their empty house. No lights, no laughter, just silence. My house now cleaned, renovated, and repainted. A fresh start. My phone buzzed. Another message from Jenna. But this time, just 2 words. I'm sorry. I didn't respond. I didn't even open it. I walked away, sunlight warming my face, leaving the ashes of that life behind me. For the first time, I was free. I thought about how far I'd come, how much I'd changed. For years, they'd made me feel small, insignificant. Every decision I made had been twisted into something selfish or wrong. Every choice I'd ever made, every step I'd taken, had been shadowed by their expectations. But that was all gone now. They couldn't control me anymore. I had severed those ties, burned those bridges, and for the first time, I felt the weight of freedom. But that didn't mean it was easy. The silence in my apartment wasn't always peaceful. It was like there was a lingering hum of chaos I couldn't shake. No matter how hard I tried, the echoes of their voices, their manipulation, followed me. Sometimes I'd find myself staring at the phone, wondering if they'd reach out again. Wondering if they'd find a way back into my life. But the phone stayed silent. I focused on work, on rebuilding myself. Every day I woke up, I reminded myself that this was my life now. No one was going to dictate it for me. I started taking better care of myself, physically, mentally. I'd always been so wrapped up in trying to meet their demands that I had forgotten how to live for me. A few weeks later, something unexpected happened. I was out with some friends when my phone buzzed again. Another message from Jenna. This one was different. It wasn't angry, it wasn't blaming. It was almost humble. It was a simple message, just a sentence. Michael, I've made a mess of things. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I stared at it for a long time, unsure what to make of it. After everything, was this just another attempt at manipulation? Or was this real? I wanted to ignore it. I wanted to delete it and move on with my life. But something inside of me told me to reply. To give it a chance, just for my own peace of mind. I typed back, it's too late. The damage is done. I don't have the energy for this anymore. I put the phone down and let out a deep breath. It felt like I was finally letting go of something that had been holding me in place for so long. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even sad. I just felt done. I had moved on. The weeks passed, and I found myself rebuilding not just my life, but my identity. I found strength in the little things, morning jogs, quiet evenings with a book, conversations that didn't feel like a transaction. I started to see the world through a clearer lens, one free of the toxic fog my family had always cast around me. A month later, I was sitting in my favorite cafe when I saw someone I hadn't seen in a while, an old friend from school. We exchanged a few pleasantries, and she sat down with me. We caught up on life, and she eventually asked about my family. I sighed, unsure how much I wanted to share. You know, it's complicated, I said, trying to choose my words carefully. I had to walk away. For my own sanity. She gave me a knowing look. I figured as much. I've heard bits and pieces from people who know them. It's a shame, but I get it. You had to do what you had to do. I nodded, grateful that she didn't press for more. I didn't want to rehash old wounds. I didn't need to. Later that night, as I lay in bed, I found myself reflecting on everything that had happened. There was a part of me that had always felt like I needed their approval, that I needed them in my life. But now, looking back, I realized I was finally free. Free of their lies, their manipulation, their suffocating love. But even after everything, I couldn't ignore that little part of me that still longed for something, a reconciliation, maybe, or even just a semblance of the family I had once known. I knew it wasn't possible, not without change. And change was something my family had never been willing to do. 2 months passed, and I hadn't heard a word from them. No more posts, no more emails, no more messages. I had blocked all their numbers, deleted every trace of their social media accounts from my life. And still, nothing. It was like they had finally given up. Or maybe, they had just moved on. I wasn't sure which one was worse. I spent a lot of time thinking about forgiveness. Could I ever forgive them for what they did to me? For all the lies, all the betrayal, the emotional manipulation, was it worth it to let go of the anger and hurt? In the end, I realized that forgiveness wasn't for them. It was for me. Forgiveness wasn't about saying it was okay, or that I would ever forget what they had done. It was about freeing myself from the chains they had wrapped around me for so long. It was about letting go of the idea that they could ever hold any more power over me. A few more months passed, and life started to feel normal again. No more chaos. No more manipulation. No more guilt. Just a quiet, steady life that I was building piece by piece. I had learned to trust myself again. I had learned to listen to my own instincts and not to let the voices of my family drown out what I knew was true. Then, one day, I received another message. This time it was from Dad. It had been months since I'd heard from him. I almost didn't open it, but something urged me to. The message was simple, almost to the point of being pathetic. Michael, I'm sorry. Please, let's talk. I don't know what I was thinking. I read it twice, unsure of what to do. For the first time, I wasn't angry. I wasn't even hurt. I was indifferent. But I couldn't just ignore it. I had to make sure that I had no lingering doubts, no what-ifs. I typed back, "It's too late, Dad. You had your chance. I've moved on." I hit send, put my phone down, and felt a weight lift off my chest. I didn't need them anymore. I didn't need their validation, their approval, their love. I had everything I needed right here, and for the first time in my life, I was okay with that. I tapped the screen, and a recording played Jenna's voice, loud and clear. He's just an ATM. He doesn't matter. I can always make him pay. He'll do it, or I'll make Dad force him. Jenna's face turned pale. That's fake, she screeched. But even Mom's eyes widened. Dad's face went red. Shut up. Turn that off. No, I said, cold and calm. You're going to hear everything. I played another recording this time, a call between Dad and Jenna. Just pressure him. Dad, you always make him feel guilty. He'll sign. He has to. We're family. Dad's face turned even redder. Where did you get that? Where do you think? I said. Jenna's been so confident, so arrogant, never thinking I'd keep records. But I did. Jenna's voice trembled. You're spying on me. You're insane. Insane? I laughed. Let's talk about insane. I pulled out a stack of papers and dropped them on the coffee table. Credit card bills, medical bills, payments for the house you live in, all in my name, paid by me. Mom reached out, her hands shaking. Michael, please, please. What? I snapped. Pretend this didn't happen? Pretend you haven't used me for years. I leaned in, my voice steady but sharp. No. Tonight, we face the truth. Dad's fists were trembling. You have no right. No right. I stood up, towering over them. Let me remind you, Dad, this house you live in? It's mine. My name's on the mortgage. My money pays the bills. Dad's mouth opened, but no words came out. I tried to help you. I tried to be a good son. But you made me your backup plan, your safety net, your punching bag. You ungrateful. He started, but I cut him off. Ungrateful? That's rich, coming from you. I turned to Jenna. All your little business ideas, all your dreams, they were paid for with my money. Every last one. Jenna shot to her feet. You just want to ruin me. You've always hated me. No, Jenna, I said, I've always saved you. But not anymore. I opened the next file. Here's the paperwork for the car you drive, the one I co-signed for. It's being repossessed next week. And the house? I've already stopped the automatic payments. You've got 30 days to figure it out. Mom's voice cracked. Michael, please. We can fix this. No, Mom, I said. You can't. This was never about money. It was about the fact that I was never your son. I was your insurance policy. Dad stepped forward, his anger flaring. Go ahead, say whatever you want. It won't change anything. His hand hovered in the air, but fell to his side. He staggered back, eyes wild. You think you're so smart. You think you're better than us. No, I said, cold and steady. But I'm free. I walked to the door and opened it. Get out. They hesitated. For once, they had nothing to say, nothing to demand. They shuffled out, Mom crying, Jenna cursing, Dad glaring like a wounded animal. But before the door could close, I heard him snarl, You'll regret this. You think you can just walk away? You don't know what family means. Oh, I know exactly what it means to you, I said, locking the door behind them. I turned back to the empty living room. The echo of their anger still lingered, but something felt different. The weight I'd carried for years was gone. They thought this was over. They thought I'd come crawling back. But they were wrong, because I wasn't just walking away. I was finally ready to reclaim my life. I didn't waste any time. The moment the door slammed behind them, I sat down at my laptop and got to work. First, a social media post, no sob story, no begging for sympathy. Just the cold, brutal truth. Screenshots of payment receipts, messages from Jenna demanding money, audio clips of her calling me an ATM, and Dad saying I owed them because family. I captioned it simply, this is what family looks like when you're nothing but a safety net. I hit post, made myself a coffee, and watched as the notifications poured in. Comments, messages, reactions, support, it flooded in faster than I expected. But it didn't take long for them to react. Mom was first. Her post appeared within an hour. Family shouldn't destroy each other. Michael is lying. We've always supported him. Lying. I smirked. I hit reply. Supported me? Here are the bills I paid for your house. The debts I cleared for Jenna. The hundreds of dollars drained from my account. Shall I share the voice recordings too? Her post disappeared within 10 minutes. But I didn't stop there. I sent an official letter to the bank, removing my name from the mortgage on their house. The utilities, still in my name, got disconnected. Let them figure it out. Next, Jenna. The car I co-signed for her, the one she flaunted around like a trophy, was repossessed within 2 days. She tried posting a tearful story on Instagram when your own family betrays you. But sympathy didn't flood in like she'd hoped. Instead, people started asking questions. They didn't need me to answer. My post had already done all the talking. I arranged an anonymous interview with a local podcast. I didn't name names, but the story was crystal clear. A family that saw me as a walking wallet, a sister who always played the victim, and parents who knew how to manipulate. The episode went viral, and suddenly people were reaching out, sharing their own stories. My family's response? Predictable. They went on the attack. A week later, I got a letter from a local lawyer, an angry accusation of defamation, claiming I was ruining the family's reputation. I couldn't help but laugh. My lawyer, an old friend, replied within 24 hours, "Be advised, any lawsuit will lead to full public disclosure of all evidence, including financial records, audio recordings, and messages. Proceed at your own risk." Silence. Mom tried again with another post. "I don't recognize my own son. How could he do this to us?" But people had seen enough. Her friends commented, "Maybe look in the mirror." That was just the start. A week later, I received an email from the bank. "Your family has failed to meet the financial requirements for the mortgage. Foreclosure proceedings will begin shortly." Jenna's boutique never even launched. Her Instagram went dark, her online store closed. She tried to salvage her reputation, but I had already burned it to the ground. Dad's social circle turned on him. People whispered. His proud reputation as a self-made man was now just a line, exposed for what it truly was. And I just watched it all crumble. Messages poured in, strangers offering support, clients reaching out, people sharing their own betrayal stories. For the first time, I didn't feel alone. In my new apartment, clean, quiet, mine, I sipped my coffee every morning, watching sunlight filter through the blinds. No yelling, no demands, no "you owe us." Then my phone buzzed. A message from Jenna. "Are you happy now? You destroyed our family. I hope it was worth it." I smiled and typed a reply. "Happy? Happier than ever." And this is just the beginning. 2 weeks after the storm, I thought I'd seen it all. But then came the email. A desperate, rambling message from Dad. "Michael, please. You've made your point. We're losing the house. Your sister is falling apart. People won't even talk to us anymore. Is this what you wanted? To destroy your own family?" Destroy? I laughed. They'd already done that themselves. But I didn't reply. An hour later, a notification popped up, a new post on Facebook. Mom playing the victim again. Family is supposed to forgive. We tried our best, but some people just want to hurt others. I screenshot it, rolled my eyes, and went back to my coffee. But then I noticed the comments. Not sympathy. Not this time. Weren't you the ones who used him? If he's lying, why are there so many receipts? We always knew something was off with your family. They were getting torn apart publicly. Then Jenna tried to fight back. She made a tearful video, mascara smudged, voice cracking. "My brother is destroying my life. He's lying. He's manipulating everyone." But she forgot something. I never stopped recording. I posted a clip under her video. Her voice crystal clear. "He's just an ATM. He'll pay. He always does." The comments turned vicious. People called her a liar, a manipulator. Within hours, her profile was gone. Deleted. But the final blow came when I got a call from Grandpa, Dad's own father, who never took sides, who stayed quiet even when he saw the worst.